Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. Nice to have you with us today. We're going to find out from a study from the University of Valencia in Spain how coconut oil in the diet improves brain function in dementia and Alzheimer's patients. That's good news, but we have a lot more good news. Also today, we're going to show you what the mainstream media has refused, for whatever its reasons, to leave out of its daily reporting. For example, in the United States, there are now growing numbers of individuals working together across party lines, it doesn't matter whether they're conservative or liberal, who are saying enough is enough. This entire pandemic has been mishandled. There's been a lot of obfuscation, misinformation, half-truths, and full-out lies. Why? Now the people are speaking back to power. Do you remember at the beginning of this, I said that Americans are not in enough pain yet to protest, but when they do get into pain and they do protest, it's going to be a tsunami, a backlash. Virtually all of the power bases will be challenged. It's happening now. It's just beginning in the United States. It's been full throttle in other countries. We're seeing the generally peaceful people of Canada now fighting their government. Now people within Trudeau's own party are fighting him because of his mismanaging of this entire situation, overreaction. The people are unarmed, they're peaceful, and the citizens are supporting them. And now the citizens are being arrested or threatened if they bring them food or fuel. In fact, there are videos that we've posted showing people having fuel taken away from their cars, even though there's nothing illegal about that. So isn't it amazing that the people are in a nonviolent way saying we support the protesters, and now the police are making that a crime, up to $100,000 if you get arrested. So it's a mess, but we're going to, again, let's start over. Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. We have a great show for you today. We're going to always start with health and nutrition. And today from the University of Valencia, which is in Spain, how coconut oil in the Mediterranean diet can really help people improve brain function who have Alzheimer's and dementia. That's good news. Also today, we're going to show you two of the finest minds anywhere talking about how do we begin to reassess our own lives and the role of ourselves in society as we start to come out of this dark period, this 2-year dark period of the coronavirus pandemic. And so that's going to be wonderful. Also, we have a person today, a police officer from the United States, encouraging the police in Canada to understand this is a rightful demonstration. So be conscious of that. They're simply exercising their constitutional rights. This is not a time for violence or the police to overreact. Similarly, in Canada, a top member of the military is also calling upon the citizens of Canada to respect this peaceful demonstration and to participate and to join them. Now, this person risks everything, their whole career, a 20-year career, and as a commanding officer, saying, we need this. You bet. Do you remember 2 years ago, I said, when someone had called in about what should we do, I said, at this time, we're not going to do anything because we haven't. On all the important issues, you've seen no demonstrations. And I listed 30 issues like universal health care, nothing. Getting our own military to reduce its budget by at least 80%, because that's all it needs to defend us, nothing. To be able to stop money going into campaigns so the average person could run for office and have a chance of winning, a school teacher against a billionaire, nothing. So when you're not demonstrating against really important issues that do impact your life, then why would you be out there in the street supporting, let's say, a demonstration in Canada of truck drivers? And even our own Teamsters Union supports Trudeau, supports heavy-handedness in dealing with these people, as if they're all right-wing radical racist. They're not. In fact, about 90% of the truckers are vaccinated. This has nothing now to do with pro or con vaccine. This has to do with all of the liberties and freedoms that have been guaranteed in our constitutions around the world being violated. So, are we in enough pain? I believe we are beginning to become in enough pain. So now, because this is more than a physical pain, this is a psychological pain. This is not just a financial pain. It goes far beyond that. It's the pain of realizing that, gee whiz, people have taken away your rights, your freedoms, and now they're controlling every aspect of your life, or will, with a great new reset. It is not great for us. And tomorrow I'm going to do a commentary on, is normal really normal? Do we really want to go back to normal? I don't, because what everyone had accepted was itself not normal. I'll do my commentary tomorrow on that. In any case, today we have some wonderful speakers. We have some strong advocates. The first one after health nutrition is going to be a 24-year school teacher who is spot on. And we're going to see more and more of these. And we're going to push back against all the inequality in our society. So we start today. First up, latest on health and nutrition. Spanish researchers believe that a Mediterranean diet enriched with coconut oil, I say 2 tablespoons a day, can improve cognitive function in Alzheimer's patients. This is important. This was done at the Catholic University in Valencia, as well as the University of Valencia. And they're saying that this made a major improvement. Well, why? What would happen? Well, it's quite simple. I've discussed this many times. Coconut oil is a medium chain triglyceride, and it can convert into ketones, K-E-T-O-N-E-S, which brain cells then used as fuel. And remember, your brain and heart use the most energy in the body. And your heart's not very big. It would fit in the palm of your hand, and the brain as well. Previous research has also identified ketone bodies as a possible therapeutic for Alzheimer's disease. Well, following the study, the researchers found that those in the experimental group using coconut oil had improvements in temporal orientation, as well as their episodic and semantic memory. So better memory, better cognition, coconut oil. Good. In all of the studies that I have done, and that's a lot, that's over 50 clinical studies over almost 45 years, and 4 of them in the last 2 years, caloric restriction was essential. Why? Because my own research back in 1972 at the Institute of Applied Biology as a young, very young, youngest in their history, scientist, I showed that by fasting, not giving animals any food for 1 day a week, but giving them juices, and then giving them time in between food, meaning I picked up all the food at 7 o'clock at night, and they got no more food until 7 o'clock next day, 12 hours every day. At the end of a year, the 1,000 rats that I was using, by the way, none in cages, no vivisection, no pain, in fact, a wonderful environment. And this is 3,000 square foot, and I made little lakes by putting material inside big 5-gallon containers, and they'd jump in, swim through, and made them all kinds of exercise. And then I hid the food and played them different types of soothing music. And none developed obesity. None was engaged in tail biting, which is common as they're frustrated and stressed. And they had full access to everything. Well, just by restricting their food, they lived 22% longer, but they were healthier. So I did it again. And this time when I did it, I added nutrients. I added things like high doses of vitamin C, and I added different concentrates instead of just giving them water, I would also give them concentrates of blueberry and concentrates of papaya and mango and pineapple. And they lived 27% longer. So that was the first studies of its kind showing caloric restrictions. Unfortunately, because the people downstairs, the other 16 departments, didn't believe in any of this, they thought it was all nonsense. And I could understand why. They were all very smart people, highly intelligent, came from the best institutions, but they were looking for the gold ring. They were looking for developing the drug for cancer and the drug for pain and the drug for addiction. And that's what they were known for. So who was this young kid upstairs telling them that if they ate a healthier meal, they could live a longer life? And they didn't believe any of this. So my article was not put out into circulation. 7 years later, Dr. Roy Warford at UCLA, he did the same identical experiments, good for him. And he got the credit for it. And again, good for him, as long as the word got out. But just know that caloric restriction rewires your metabolism. And that means that your immunity is going to be longer. Now we know this from the Pennington Biomedical Research Center. Caloric restriction improves metabolic and immune responses that help determine both how long you live, that's how important it is, and how many years of good health you enjoy. And 2 years of modest caloric restriction reprogrammed the pathways in fat cells that help regulate the way the mitochondria, your energy factories in the cells, generate energy. The body's anti-inflammatory responses and potentially longevity all work together. Hence, in other words, caloric restriction rewires many of the metabolic and immune responses that boost lifespan and health span. Mind you, you've got health span and lifespan. Now, we can keep a person longer alive, but it doesn't mean they're in good health. They suffer. That's why a lot choose, unfortunately, suicide or assisted suicide. So this study shows you can live longer, but be healthier in those longer years by something like eliminating all those excess calories. The study found that people who cut their caloric intake by about 14% over 2 years generated more T cells. Those T cells play a role in your immune system and slow the aging process. It's that simple. So finally, we're getting this, and every single person in our anti-aging studies have shown remarkable quality of life improvements. I mean, you see it because we film them now. We film them at the beginning, we film them at the end, we film them a year later, we follow them constantly to keep them motivated. And so just keep in mind, all that we're doing is adding pieces to the puzzle so that you don't have to die at 74 or 75. And right now it's 75. So you could live to be 100 or 110, depending upon when you started your changes. But can we reverse disease? You bet. Can we improve your lifespan? Absolutely. That's a matter of proof, and it's been published in peer-reviewed journals. In fact, I never discussed this, but even yesterday, I sent an invitation I received to some critics, some people who don't believe in any of this stuff, that this is all nonsense. Some of the most respected scientific forums in the world, I'm invited to be either the keynote speaker all over the world and submit papers. So quietly, without any fanfare, without mentioning it, I'm publishing. And my work, my original work right now is getting out there. I'm communicating with people every day. So the fact that there's no big splash about it doesn't mean anything at this point. In time, there will be, but I still have a couple more hurdles to cross. And one is coming up the full month of May, when I'm going to have a group of people on campus where we're going to implement the newest protocols. These are brand new protocols. And I want to thank the people in different foundations and some of the smartest people in the room at 3 major anti-aging institutions for working with me and participating by giving me the test to take that I did not have access to before, plus adding different tests in and even different protocols. All the other protocols I've created myself, but this is a team effort this time around. So very excited by it. And the only reason I haven't mentioned to call in yet is because I'm also trying something. I'm trying to get funding for it. Because otherwise I have to, at every one of these, I don't go into it, but I pay for all these things. What money comes in is minimal compared to what it actually costs to do this. These experiments are not inexpensive. So when I can get some funding, then I'll announce it. So that's the only thing I'm waiting on, but it's coming. Now, there's more evidence about the power of fish oil. And for those of you who may have asthma or a child or someone who has asthma, the University of Rochester's Medical Center, the scientists there discovered new essential information about omega-3 fatty acids contained in fish oil and how they could be used for asthma patients. In a paper published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, the researchers using cell culture from local asthma patients found that omega-3 fatty acids can reduce the production of IgE, the antibodies that cause allergic reaction and asthma symptoms in people with milder case of asthma. So that's good news. One more reason to take your omega-3 fatty acids. And one last thing from the University of Maine, mindful adults age with better mental health. Aging happens to all of us. If you're a mindful person, though, you may be better equipped to handle the effects of growing older, according to University of Maine study led by Associate Professor Rebecca McCauley. It was published in the journal Aging and Mental Health. Aging adults with high levels of what is called trait, T-R-A-I-T, mindfulness, or a person's innate ability to pay attention to the present moment they're in without judgment, showed measures of greater well-being and mental health. Mindful adults also demonstrated more mental resilience when stressed. So I think that is terrific. So just be mindful, be present. Just if you're out in nature, just be a part of nature. Listen to the birds and feel the breezes and appreciate just being in that environment. Don't be thinking, don't take your mind-fed problems everywhere you are. If you're at an opera, be mindful. You're at the opera, enjoy it. If you're reading a book, focus upon the book. Read a few pages, stop and just regurgitate in your mind. What have I just read? Oh, and by the way, I'm updating, brand new, Living in the Moment, Prescription for the Soul. I know a lot of you, it's sold out. A lot of you appreciated that book and been waiting for the sequel. The sequel is being written. I'm writing it now. I'm also writing the sequel to Finding Happiness and Finding Joy. And the good news, I'm starting the process. I've just gotten the rights back after 25 years. I finally legally got the rights back to Get Healthy Now, the Women's Health Encyclopedia and the Complete Encyclopedia of Natural Healing. All of those are going to be completely rewritten. Those are on my project list to do. So, got a lot of good stuff coming your way. For those of you who've been using your beets, and I know you have, and beet juices, great, and beet powders, even better, a daily dose of beetroot juice, improved endurance and blood pressure. Yeah, Wake Forest Medical Center. Scientists of Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center have found that a daily dose of beet juice significantly improved exercise endurance and blood pressure. And the older you are, the better it is, especially those of you who have any heart problems. So the study is published in the current online edition of the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, heart failure. So if you have shortness of breath or you have exercise intolerance, you have fatigue with even just normal amounts of extra exertion, This is really important. It can help you. A glass of beet juice each day. That's the latest on health and healing. I'm Gary Null.